Hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry about the image. So one major problem we have here in Lebanon is the connection, is the internet connection. So my name is Nelly Aboud. I'm an archaeologist from Lebanon, and I'm specialized in museum education. So I'm freelancer, currently I'm freelancer, and I'm a founder and director of an NGO called Museolab. We started the NGO in 2017, and I'm currently the founder and the director of the NGO. Museolab aims mainly at promoting cultural heritage in Lebanon through hands-on activities, and we work mainly with schools, with school students and teachers.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope I could see you as soon as possible. Okay, today we are going to talk about the museum education and impact of coronavirus crisis on museum sector on it. So we all know the significance or importance of museum education. Its main objective is to engage visitors in learning experiences to enhance their curiosity or interest on the object, collection, and most importantly, intangible heritage. The majority of people have heard of the, guided tours or even scavenger hunts, but there are so many more, specifically in this crisis that we are living in. So, but there are positions in this sector which mostly they call it museum educators. They are responsible for developing and carrying out all of the museums' various education and public programs, such as lectures, family visiting, community and school programs. It means that they are not doing the same job as the curator do. But in some small museums or developing countries, we don't have this position, and these are the responsibility of curator or even guided tour. In the other hand, in other countries such as Western countries, commonly they hire educators as a freelancer or contractors, and that is why in the US and majorly in New York City, there is a growing trend of layoffs of targeting education staff. I don't think so we would have these treats for museum professional in developing countries, because mostly museums are supported by government. So I would like to hear about the situation in Lebanon, from Nelly.
Okay, Lebanon is correct also. It's the Arabic word for Lebanon. Don't worry.
Yeah, as we call it, Lebanon.
Lebanon. So we have national museums in Lebanon, but also we have private museums because at the end of the war, the Lebanese war in the 90s, the private sector flourished a lot, because the government was not capable, of taking care of museums or opening or managing a museum. So we have also university museums, private museums. And the problem is with museum education in Lebanon, it's not well known first, it's not even maybe a job for most of, the Lebanese people. So, and the main problem also because we have, many challenges with financial resources and human resources also. So we don't have like a museum educator position in museums. In some private museums, maybe yes, more or less, you have someone who is taking care of the learning, department or the educational department, but you don't have one, well-defined position as a museum educator. So you have the curator taking care of the education. You have also, freelancers, contractors, students, who are taking care of the education. And this is one of the main problems, challenges that we face, because you cannot develop, an educational department and also develop the education experience in your museum if you don't have like, well-defined position with a job description. And so it's challenging, and it's mainly because of the lack of financial resources and human resources also, because we don't have like, a major in any of the Lebanese universities that tackle, precisely museum education. We have something like museum studies, but we don't have something about museum education in particular. So this is more or less the situation now in Lebanon.
Okay, I think we both have in similar situation in Iran also. We have museum studies, whether in bachelor or master, but no museum education, I mean, in academic level or even any position. Maybe some museum, but it is all handling by curators or those students who have studied museum studies. I can say even some of them which are very successful, they are more related to literature. As you may know, the Persian literature is very important for us. So the way that they are interacting or engaging with the audiences, it is more, it has more attraction for the visitors. So that's why maybe some private museums has more audiences than the government museum. Although, as you may know, that the main museums, such as National Museum, such as other main museums, they are having, the mass audiences. So let's move to second part. So as museum educator in general, playing an important role, what should be the museum strategy? I mean, what do you think should be the museum strategy in the time of crisis while museums are closed?
Wow. I guess, to be able maybe to analyze the extent, of the impact, of the coronavirus or the COVID-19 crisis in Lebanon or even in other countries, I think it's too early to say maybe the impact, what is going to be, how the future of museums is going to be. But in Lebanon, I guess the main problem is before the crisis, museums were already struggling, if you want, on so many levels. And also we had like a year or 2 years ago, we have like a huge economic crisis that it started, and now with the COVID-19 also, it's going to be, harder also to survive this. So, and the museum sector is like, not well developed in Lebanon, and it's not one of the priorities in Lebanon, which is understandable if you look, at the unemployment like rates that we have in Lebanon and the economic crisis. And and the museum sector, the culture sector, it represents only 0.7% of the total budget of the government. So we don't have a lot of money, and we don't have like a good management of this money even, from the ministry and from the national museums. So strategy, I don't think that we have any strategy whatsoever. We don't have any cultural policy. We don't have a plan. We didn't have any plan before this crisis. So now also we don't have any plan, you know, to face this major, you know, pandemic. So and I guess that museums, especially national museums and private museums, you know, as well, they missed a huge opportunity to take advantage of this, you know, crisis in a positive way, like to engage with their audience or communicate with them in a different way, and maybe like attract them and make, you know, their museum, their collections maybe relevant to them. And therefore, maybe after the crisis, they might come and visit the museum because you created, you know, this link, even if it is virtually, you know. So I guess they missed this opportunity and that they didn't do much, you know, concerning this. So they didn't communicate. They just, you know, closed their doors without even, you know, preparing for something alternative or something else. So they only did like a virtual visit to major museums and also to major archaeological sites. They offered like a link where you go and you visit it virtually. But as you can see, we have like a poor connection, so it doesn't really work, you know. So this is a problem, a major problem also. So but they did only this, you know. So I guess we missed an opportunity to like communicate or, you know, think of different ways to communicate with our audience and maybe attract new audience, you know, like different audience. But I have an experience here, you know, with Mediolab, because we tried to offer the audience through our, you know, social media platforms like activities, maybe charades, quizzes, competitions, or like to introduce a museum or an archaeological site, you know, or even different intangible, you know, heritage, traditions, and rituals, you know, Lebanese rituals. So, and we got like really good feedback and reviews from people saying, please, we are home, we are bored, we are stressed, we tried everything, you know, all the different activities, and we need something new. So please, do like, you know, do more, organize more of these activities. And yeah, I feel like, you know, the museums missed a huge opportunity because this is like, I did it on a personal or private, you know, level, but they can do much more, you know, on an institutional level.
I see.